You ever have one of those moments where a single question punches you in the face so hard that your entire worldview starts glitching? Yeah, that happened to me last Tuesday. I was sitting in a cafe, minding my own business, when I noticed this old man staring at a muffin like it had personally betrayed him. And suddenly, he looks at me and says, "How do you know that the thoughts inside your head are actually yours?" Bro, my soul left my body. For a second, I genuinely thought I was trapped in one of those philosophical episodes of Regular Show, the kind where Mordecai and Rigby break reality because they forgot to read the fine print on a simple question. And that's when it hit me. Most people don't think. They just repeat. Thoughts borrowed from parents, friends, movies, TikToks, the algorithm. And they walk around convinced it's all their opinion. This video is about the moment you stop being a thought repeater and become a critical thinker. But before we go deeper, remember this. Every life-changing transformation begins with a question that makes you uncomfortable. So if what I say today bothers you even a little, congratulations, your brain is finally waking up. The old man took a bite of his muffin, like he didn't just drop an existential grenade on me, and said, "Most people aren't living, they're following a script they never wrote." And suddenly, everything around me started to look suspicious. The girl scrolling Pinterest for her dream bedroom? Probably copying someone else's idea of a dream. The guy repeating motivational quotes? Didn't think of a single one. Even the barista who told me, "Be yourself," was wearing the same haircut every influencer has right now. And that's when I realized something uncomfortable. We don't form thoughts. We download them. Society hands you a pre-installed mental software. What success should look like, what a relationship should be, what career is safe, what opinions are acceptable. And you run that script like Mordecai and Rigby pressing random buttons on a cosmic keyboard, with no idea who programmed it. Critical thinking begins the day you stop trusting the script and start asking, why do I believe this? Who benefits if I keep believing it? Does this thought even make sense, or is it emotional fast food? Most people never ask these questions. They just obey the script and call it being realistic. But you're here, which means you're ready to take the first step. And trust me, once you see the script, you can't unsee it. The old man leaned closer and said, you think, but most of the time, you're just repeating. And God, it hit harder than it should, because he was right. Think about it. You say you hate Mondays. Did you ever actually decide that? Or did you just pick it up from memes and tired coworkers? You say the world is getting worse. But do you know that? Or did you just absorb it from doom scrolling? You say, I'm not good enough. Whose voice is that? Your own, or the echo of someone who didn't know any better? This is the part nobody likes to hear. Your brain is a hoarder. It collects ideas, beliefs, opinions, even the toxic ones, and stuffs them into your mental attic without checking the expiration date. And then, one day you open your mouth, and out comes garbage that isn't even yours. The old man smiled and said, a person who never questions their thoughts is basically renting their mind out for free. And wow, imagine living your whole life with squatters in your brain. Critical thinking isn't about being smarter. It's about evicting the thoughts that don't belong to you anymore. It's about finally saying, wait, why am I thinking this? Does it align with my values? Or have I just been on autopilot? Most people never reach this point. They stay loyal to thoughts that betray them daily. But you're different. You're not here to be comfortable. You're here to be awake. And that's where real transformation starts. A week after that strange conversation with the old man, something bizarre happened. You were sitting on a bus, staring out the window, minding your own existential crisis, when you overheard two people arguing about something stupid. Something painfully stupid, and suddenly you saw it. They weren't actually arguing with each other. They were arguing with the invisible scripts inside their heads. One was repeating the script of, I must win every argument to feel in control. The other was repeating the script of, if someone disagrees with me, it means they don't value me. You sat there thinking, holy shit, everyone's running on default settings. People defend opinions they never questioned. They fight battles they didn't choose. They fear things no one ever taught them to examine. It's like watching a puppet show where no one realizes they're the puppets. And then the real twist hits you. You've been living with your own invisible scripts too. The script that says you must be liked. The script that says success has a deadline. The script that whispers you're behind, even when you're exactly where you need to be. No one wrote these scripts for you. They simply slipped in. Parents, school, friends, strangers, society's loud background noise. And you absorbed it all without permission. The old man's words came back to you, echoing like a moral you didn't ask for. The moment you notice the script, you're no longer controlled by it. You didn't choose most of your beliefs, but you can choose what stays. And that's the beginning of freedom. Not the loud, kind people brag about, but the quiet one that only you can feel. A few days later, you try something reckless, something most people spend their entire lives avoiding. You sit in your room, no music, no phone, no distractions, and you ask yourself a question so dangerous. It should probably come with a warning label. Which of my thoughts are actually mine? And then, silence. Not peaceful silence, the disturbing kind. Because you suddenly realize how many of your opinions were downloaded like cheap software. Your taste in success, your fear of failure, your beliefs about love, your definition of good enough, your obsession with productivity, your idea of what your life should look like by now. None of it came from inside you. You just collected it without checking the source. It hits you like a quiet punch. You're not fighting your life. You're fighting expectations you never agreed to. And the deeper you look, the more absurd it gets. You realize you've been negotiating your happiness with imaginary judges who don't even exist. People you're trying to impress won't remember your name in 20 years. Rules you fear breaking were invented by someone who's been dead for centuries. The pressure you feel to get your life together comes from comparing yourself to strangers who don't even know you're alive. And the funniest part? You think all of this is normal. You start laughing, not like someone who's amused, but like someone who's finally going insane in the right direction. Because the moment you ask that question, the moment you dare to peel your mind open, everything begins to collapse. False fears, borrowed dreams, secondhand ambitions, inherited anxieties. It's messy, it's uncomfortable, it's liberating. And now you understand why people avoid this question. It forces you to stop living as the audience and start living as the author. Something strange starts happening after you ask yourself, which of your thoughts are actually yours? Your world doesn't fall apart. It peels apart, like wallpaper that's been hiding mold for years. You begin noticing how many people live on autopilot, how many chase goals they don't even want, how many wake up every day performing a life they never chose. You see it everywhere. The friend who pretends he's focused on work, but is actually terrified of admitting he feels lost. The girl posting motivational quotes, while crying every night because she doesn't know who she is, without someone else validating her. The coworker bragging about success, but panicking inside because he built a life that impresses everyone, except himself. And the worst part? You realize you were one of them. You were the character in a story written by fear, pressure, and borrowed expectations. You were trying to win a game you didn't even want to play. But now, the illusion starts cracking. You notice the subtle ways society trains you to be predictable, be productive, be polite, be successful, be normal. And you whisper to yourself, but what if I don't want to be any of that? And for the first time, that thought doesn't terrify you. It excites you because you start to see something no one talks about. Most people aren't actually afraid of failure. They're afraid of disappointing an imaginary audience. Most people aren't confused about what they want. They're afraid to want something that makes them look weird. Most people don't lack clarity. They lack permission. Permission to break the script, to change direction, to let old dreams die, to stop pretending they're okay with a life they secretly hate. You're not becoming rebellious. You're becoming real. And that's why everything feels unstable right now. Because the perfect life you were chasing is evaporating. And underneath it, something terrifyingly honest. Your actual self. The part of you that doesn't perform, doesn't impress, doesn't pretend, just exists. And now you face the question people avoid their entire lives. If I stop living for approval, Who do I become? There's a moment near the end of every internal transformation where something incredibly uncomfortable happens. You look at yourself, and you don't fully recognize who you were yesterday. Not because you've changed too much, but because you finally stopped pretending. The mask drops, the performance ends, the background noise of everyone's expectations fades into silence. And for the first time, you meet the version of yourself that's been waiting behind the curtain. The one who isn't trying to be impressive, or agreeable, or perfect, or validated, just aware. And this awareness hurts at first, because you start seeing every lie you told yourself to survive. I'm fine. I'm in control. I know what I'm doing. This is what I want. But the truth is quieter, simpler, more frightening. You've been living as a reflection of people you don't even respect. So part 7 is where you make a choice. Not a dramatic, cinematic, life-changing decision, but a silent one. The kind only you can hear. A promise to stop trying to be impressive and start trying to be real. You stop chasing a life that photographs well and start chasing one that feels like yours. Maybe that means becoming more disciplined. Maybe it means walking away from people who drain you. Maybe it means admitting you know nothing and starting over from zero. Whatever it looks like, it's the first time you choose something. Not because it will gain approval, but because it will gain self-respect. And when you do that, something shifts. You stop being controlled by the fear of judgment. You stop performing for audiences who aren't even watching. You stop editing yourself to fit into rooms you don't want to be in. You become hard to manipulate, hard to predict, hard to break, because you finally understand. A person who knows who they are is untouchable. You become someone you would actually listen to, someone you would actually follow, someone you would actually trust. And when you reach that point, all the noise fades away. You don't need validation. You don't need permission. You don't need applause. You just need direction. And from here on out, your life stops being a reaction and becomes a creation. This is where the real story begins. Not the story you inherited, but the one you finally decided to write. And trust me, it's already better than anything they expected from you.